What's going on, everybody? My name is Heir Samurai. Welcome to the podcast. All right, so I'm so excited. Today is episode 2 on the Heir Samurai podcast, and today we got a couple things that we're going to talk about. Both of these things are actually 2K related, but as the podcast goes on, I'll get more involved and in depth in other different areas. But I really wanted to record this podcast today because one of my favorite content creators on YouTube right now, Brutal Sim, who's been one of my favorite content creators for years. Brutal Sim and Jay Easy are two really good content creators in the 2K community that I've been following for a long time. But I watched a Brutal Sim video today where he talked about how 2K needs to be careful to not basically destroy the user experience in order to try to combat cheaters. And I thought it was a very interesting video that he did because his sentiments about the shot stick, and I'll just get into this briefly so we can get to the point that I wanted to make. Brutal Sim is one of those people that shoots with the shot stick on NBA2K. And I am someone who I actually believe in the shot stick for jumpers. Not necessarily for layups, but definitely for jumpers. He's someone who believes in the shot stick. I do too. I think the shot stick is a great idea, but I'll get into that a little bit later. And he was talking about in the video today about how people in the 2K community get on the game and they get the shot stick and they go into the my court and they learn how to master certain things, right? They take their time to learn how to master certain things. And when you take this time to learn how to master certain things, it's just like I said in my first podcast about skill, guys, right? So skill is something where when you first pick it up, you're not that good at it. But through practice, through repetition, through training variation, through playing actual games, you develop the skill to be able to do something a little bit more proficiently, or really great, actually. And he talked about how the fact that we play this game and people get on here and you learn the shot stick, and then because you have this Cronus Zen thing going on where people putting in scripts on modded controllers and all this kind of nonsense, what 2K does is they put out these hot fixes, and then these hot fixes try to combat the cheaters, but at the same time it punishes people that are actually out here trying to play legit. And which is funny because someone actually accused me of having a modded controller, which is crazy because this is what my controller looks like right here. And for somebody like myself, I don't get any satisfaction out of cheating, so I don't even know why somebody would say that I was using a modded controller. I think it's just because, like, when you really start kicking somebody's ass, sometimes they can get a little pissed off about that, and they can say anything or report you just because you beat them and all that kind of stuff, right? But Brutal Sim has a very, very good point here where he's talking about 2K not ruining the user experience in order to combat cheaters. And I'm not saying that Brutal Sim said this, but I'm saying that Brutal Sim's point about combating cheater, not ruining the user experience to combat cheaters, is the same exact reason why I've said that NBA 2K21 this year is for current gen, not next gen, because we got about 10 or 11 days to next gen. And I'm really excited about that because I really want to see what we got coming down the pipe. But NBA 2K21 right now, current gen, is actually NBA 2K Play Shot 21, because those are the only builds that can come out and dominate from the perimeter. And it's strange and it's odd and it's weird and it's not fun, and it really makes the game dry and stale and boring because you have one kind of build, 6'5", and everybody's running out there with it or some variation of it. Shot creator just a play shot without, certain attributes up or whatever it is, but it's still built from the same pie chart. And what it does is it ruins the fun and the uniqueness and the variety of the game. People in the 2K community have been whining for years about we need a skill gap, we need a skill gap, we need a skill gap. And I agree. I do think we need a skill gap. In order for the game to be fun, I do think we need a skill gap. But where does that skill gap come from? It comes from having a game that has counters that are effective. The skill gap actually comes off of counters. It doesn't come by nerfing bills. It doesn't come by putting hot fixes on the shot stick. It doesn't come in those ways. The skill gap comes through counters. And in order for us to be able to have a game that is fun, that can be competitive, we have got to have counters that work accurately every time on time. That's the only way to truly make this game a game with a skill gap. Now, I was talking to somebody the other day that I've been playing with like for about 5 years on 2K, and he was telling me the reason why he feels like 2K will never actually truly make a game where defense gets the same benefits as offense. And he wasn't referring to the fact that you have lockdowns with 99 steal, which I think is ridiculous. But that's a story for something else. But he wasn't referring to that. What he was referring to is the fact that in 2K, right, on offense, you get special animations for defense. And on offense, you do certain things and you know it'll lead to a certain result. Whereas with defense, it's kind of like a toss-up every single time you get on the court, right? You can guard somebody perfectly and still be saying in the party to the people that you're playing with, like, oh my God, that's a steal. Why is that? And like I said, when I say stuff like this, I have clips to prove these things. It's just because I clip this stuff. When stuff happens that shouldn't happen, I clip it. And it bothers me from the standpoint of being like, okay, well, we keep saying we want a skill gap, but what kind of skill gap are we actually asking for as a community? Are we asking for a skill gap that actually allows you to be able to have effective counters in the game so that we can have a fun game to play? Or are we just asking for a skill gap from the standpoint to just make our build just be the only build that can do this because of the name of the build and nobody else should be able to do it? You know what would be a real skill gap in the game? If you make the game a certain way and builds like perimeter lockdowns can't do something at the beginning of the year, and a select few of people learn how to do it, and then they share that information with other people, and then those people learn how to do it as well. So the shooting percentage of perimeter lockdowns in month 1 is not going to be the same shooting percentage of perimeter lockdowns in month 10 or 11 or 12. It's just not going to be the same. But that's what skill is, because skill is a living thing and it's fluid and it grows. And like I said, back to Brutal Sim's point about not making a game that basically you kill the user experience to try to combat cheaters. I feel the exact same way about badges and builds. In the archetypes, what we had, well, it's still kind of the archetype system, but it's transformed. The archetype system, it's madness. Like, I was just watching today as I was, doing some work earlier, and I was driving home. I was in the car, and I was listening to some stuff about David Thompson. And I was listening to Michael Jordan talk about David Thompson and how David Thompson inspired him, because David Thompson was one of the first players that he saw that was athletic, was dunking on people, had creativity with the ball while he was, going towards the basket. And then not only that, but he could shoot the mid-range. And he had some handle, and he could pass kind of fancy. And that player in and of itself is a player that inspired MJ, right? An athletic player that can shoot. Oh my God. Who would have thought that you could have a player that could actually do more than one thing? Or had the ability to be athletic and be able to shoot the mid-range consistently. But somehow in 2K, the community has interpreted that if you have a player like that, that you are not balanced. You are cheesy. And that's just not true. If you give two people the same exact player, and they both play with this player and they learn how to use it to a standpoint where they both are in games doing certain things, where does the skill truly lie? The skill lies in one person being able to look at the other player and look at what he's doing on the court at that particular time and adjust to it and adapt and try to limit certain opportunities or stop certain opportunities because of his knowledge of how certain moves work and his ability to read and react or predict what the player is going to do and beat him to that spot. And that is what I am saying in terms of 2K, in terms of having consistent counters. The reason why, and I'm not saying that I'm the best player in the world, but I'm pretty damn good. And I'm saying that because from a standpoint of playing 2K basketball, because it's hard for people to guard me. And I got a slash and playmaker, and I've said this time and time again. Slash and playmaker, 74 mid-range, 67 3. The reason why it's hard to guard me is because when I dribble, you don't know what to expect. I'm a tougher cover than someone who curry slides back and forth behind the screen. And if I made a play shot, it would be a totally different ball game in terms of being able to guard. I would literally be unguardable because I don't dribble to try to get threes. Even if I had a play shot, I wouldn't be dribbling to try to get threes. I'm dribbling to get to the open space. That is the concept that a lot of people are missing that play this game. Dribble to get to the open space. Your dribble is not designed to do anything else except to get you open. Once you're open, you should, especially as a guard on the perimeter or even a forward, because I've said that before, and we're going to get into that eventually, about how 2K essentially killed the forward position in the game. I've seen more 6'2 to 6'5 point guards running around in 2K than I have ever in the entire time that I played the game. And it's because people don't understand what balance actually is in the community. They don't understand what balance is. Because not everybody. I'm not talking about content creators. I'm talking about the whole of the community and the voice of the community that helps shape the game. They don't understand what balance is. They ask for ridiculous things. And I said this before, too, with perimeter lockdowns. You got a two-way slash and play. He's isoing at the top. He's doing glitch dribble moves. You can't stop him. Even if he comes back to the hand that you're already sitting on and you hit X, you don't get the ball. All kind of nonsense. When he beats you and he gets to the basket and he dunking it every single time, eventually your teammate, if they're smart, they're going to come over to try to help. When they come over to try to help, guess what happens to you? To the guy in the corner. He's wide open now. And now, this is what happened in 2K20. Now you got a two-way slash and play, Hall of Fame floor general, Hall of Fame dimer, and you got a perimeter lockdown with 99 stats or whatever it is in stealing, or he's the green and red pie chart, and he's sitting in the corner, and he's waiting with gold catch and shoot, gold corner specialist, gold flexible release, gold range extender, and he's catching a Hall of Fame dimer pass with floor general on. He's gonna make the shot, guys. This is not like. And then he, on top of that, he's got a base that he's looked at on 2K Lab that he's using to be able to help him hit shots more consistently. So when we're complaining about certain things, like, it's different because in 2K18, people were shooting in your face. You can go back and check out my NBA2K highlight reel, the one that says best 2K highlight reel ever on my channel. Check out that highlight reel. You'll see in that highlight reel, there are literally people that shoot in, like I'm right there in their face, and they're just letting it fly. I know it's a very popular opinion to, like, pretty much shit on 2K every year for the game that they put out, because the game is usually not complete, or there are certain elements in it that just are flat out broken, or different things like that. But there are improvements from year to year. I'm not saying those improvements make it okay for the things that are not going well to not go well, but I'm just saying there are improvements. In 2K18, you had people shooting like that. Then 2K throws in a badge like Intimidator. They basically split up the Lockdown Defender badge, and you get a badge where now you got Lockdown Defender as Clamps, Intimidator, Stuff like that. So you put Intimidator on your build, and now people trying to shoot in your face the next year, and even in 2K20, it's not the same. There have been very few people that have actually been able to shoot while I'm right there. And most of those people had Hall of Fame shooting badges. And I had on Bronze Intimidator. And I don't think that makes it right or okay, but at the same time, it's not like it was in 18, where everybody, you just throw it up. Boom. Full white. Game winner. Do you get what I mean? So the game has changed and it has evolved. But what I am saying is that we as a community, we would look at that perimeter lockdown that shoots from the corner, 7 for 7 from the corner, and we say, oh, he's cheesy, he's broken. When in actuality, it is not the lockdown that is broken. It is the dribble moves of the two-way slashing play. It is the fact that you can do whatever you want to do to try to stop him from doing certain things, and it doesn't work every time. That's the problem. That is where balance is going to come to the game. That is where we're really going to get a game that we can all really appreciate and enjoy. That's what makes sense. I said this in the last podcast, I believe. I said it about any shooting game. Imagine playing a shooting game and sneaking up behind somebody and shooting them in the back of the head, and then the game goes, oh yeah, well, he's already taken enough damage. We don't think we're going to get it to you. What? He's been killing all my teammates. This is the counter. I come around the back, and I see him. He doesn't know I'm there, and I shoot him. Gone. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. But for some reason, in 2K, the game gets away with it, and we don't discuss that. We rather get up in arms about builds and the build being OP than as opposed to being like, okay, well, if y'all put the counters in the game, then you can have 99 everything. If you make a mistake, your ass is mine. Period. That's what I'm saying about the game as a whole and why I feel like Brutal Sim was basically saying something that I correlate as my own opinion about attributes, badges, and builds. No one's saying that Big should be out here shooting like Steph Curry. No one's saying that. But at the same time, if he has his jump shot and he's wide open and he knows it, if he makes it, he makes it. You can't leave these guys. Not a shooter, at least. You can't leave these guys. So we got to get proper counters in the game first. We got to get proper counters, consistent counters, counters that work every single time, and counters that make sense based off of builds. Same thing with blocking shots or, intimidating shots. It's much harder this year for bigs to be able to just go up in the paint. Yes, they're doing a post hook and different things like that. Yes, 100%. But I've seen it this year where you got point guards, two-way finisher point guards or two-way finisher shooting guards with maxed out wingspans guarding centers in the paint. It's not, the game is getting a little better from certain standpoints. You're right. They have to fix certain things. You're absolutely right about that. But what I am saying is my main point to this, don't nerf badges, builds, and attributes. Don't nerf badges, builds, and attributes to combat all of these quote-unquote dribble guys that dribble the ball and they do moves that they know are not vulnerable, and they win the games. Work on that. Make that be the focus is what I'm saying. Make the focus be the counters and making sure that the counters are consistent. Don't make the focus on being like, oh, we got to nerf this build because this build's too OP. I don't think there's ever been a 2K player that has ever admitted that sometimes they make mistakes on defense. I never heard anybody speak up on the party and say that. They always go, oh, 2K. You know how many times people say that in the party? Blaming it on 2K when it's not 2K. A lot of times it's you. And then in those times when it is 2K, then it is 2K. But that's what I'm saying. We need to eliminate the times where we get a chance to say the game didn't work properly. We need to eliminate that. I thought that was a great video, and if you haven't checked it out yet, go check out that video on Brutal Sim's channel. All right, on to the next topic. The next topic is about the WNBA, and this I'm really excited about. This is really cool, man. To hear that the WNBA not only has a My Career game mode, but also that they have an online mode called a W where players play 3-on-3. That's pretty cool. That is pretty damn cool. And the reason why that's so cool is because, and obviously other YouTubers and content creators have talked about this, but NBA Live tried this a while back where they put WNBA players in the game, but they were also playing with the NBA players, and then you had WNBA players windmill contact dunking people and stuff like that, and that's just like loopy to me, like there's a lot of things that are loopy as well within the My Park and stuff like that, but to get a game that's actually more representative of the beauty of the WNBA and women's basketball, you needed a mode like this where the WNBA players, my players, could go in there and just hoop and not have to worry about like all of this I guess just cartooniness. And for me, obviously, Park is one thing in and of itself, and it is fun, but at the same time, I feel like some of the cartooniness could like be toned down just a little bit. It is what it is. Some people like a little bit more cartoony, and then they like a little bit more of a simulation game in the rec. But my favorite days of 2K, like I said, were the years with like you just go out and you just play. Like it's not about like putting all these cartoony animations in. And I think that the Park is a fairly decent mode now. I've never liked Park dunks that get blocked way too much, or they just activate at like the silliest times. So I've never liked Park dunks. I know some people love Park dunks, especially for builds that can't get contact dunks. But to me, I like the game a little bit more how it was in 15 and even 18 from a Park standpoint, where yeah, like there's some cartoony stuff, but it's not as much in terms of the unrealistic like dunking animations and stuff like that. Like I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe it's just because I feel a certain way about it. But sometimes it starts to resemble a little bit more of NBA Jam and NBA Playgrounds than it does to resemble like a game where you like, oh, I'm out here and I'm hooping and I'm having fun, and things actually look like they can be countered, and it's not just OP gameplay. So I'm really excited about the WNBA getting the mode in my in the NBA 2K21 next gen. I think that's really cool, especially for girls out here that play NBA 2K. If they want to be able to make a WNBA player now they have that option. If they want to be able to play online, like in a mode that accurately represents more of that WNBA kind of feel, or even like a street version of the WNBA, then that's really cool to see. And I'm really happy that it has its own mode and it's not mixed in with the NBA My Players mode, because now you don't have to worry about, certain levels of pettiness and childishness when you're talking about like going out to the court or whatever it is, and people trying to windmill contact dunk females and all this kind of just goofy nonsense or whatever. But it's one of those things that I think is a very, very good addition. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited for it. I probably will not make a WNBA My Player just based off of the fact that it costs, like I already got to spend VC on my player, and then to make another player on top of that, like you're adding on another layer of like just spending money with it. But I do think for fans of the WNBA, if you love the WNBA, you absolutely 100% have to give this mode a try. If you've been playing 2K for years, you have to give this mode a try. And I'm also kind of interested as well to see what WNBA players' archetypes are going to be, what their skills are going to be, what their badges and those different things. I'm very interested to see what we're going to get from that standpoint. Because maybe, just maybe, there are ways that you could look at badges or archetypes or builds over there and kind of use some of that stuff to help you model your NBA player. Because 2K, in my opinion, is a company where they are very, very heavy into like the numbers game in terms of attributes and stuff like that. So when you're talking about the numbers game for attributes, I feel like it's something that needs the ability to be able to be like, you can look at as a user and be like, oh, okay, well, this kind of rating gives me this kind of result and blah, 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 blah. But also, too, that depends on the sliders that's in the game. Because I was, what we were talking about before about the game and not killing the user experience, too. The sliders in the game, you can't tell me that 2K can come out with NBA 2K20 and I make a slash and playmaker and my mid-range is a 74 and my three-pointers is 67 and I get all my badges and I learn how to shoot and I have the same jump shot, Damian Lillard jump shot, for months and months and months. You cannot tell me that the very next year with the same exact build, at the same exact height, with the same exact jump shot, stock jump shot, same attributes, badges, whatever, you can't tell me that now I can't hit that jump shot consistently. You guys are literally moving the goalpost. But that's neither here nor there. We can talk about that, in another podcast and go a little bit more in depth in it. But it's just something I wanted to get off my chest about it, especially as we talk about the coolness of the WNBA coming up in 2K21 next gen. All right, the third thing I want to talk about, I do want to talk about a little bit about next gen and my hopes for next gen. Next gen, so far, so good. It's looking promising. Like I said, what's today? October 29th. I really do have high hopes for the game come next gen, but like I said, for people that get an opportunity to listen to this podcast or listen to me speak or watch any of my videos or watch videos of content creators, like, make sure that as an audience, it's your responsibility as an audience to make sure that you're out here voicing your opinions about the things you agree with, so that way we can get a game that is more fun. It doesn't make any sense that some of the biggest YouTubers that came across the 2K community literally don't hardly play the game anymore, don't even post the game, because the game is not... I don't want to speak for anybody else. And as a matter of fact, I won't speak for anybody else, because the last thing I want to do is be negative. I just feel like if a game is really good and the proper changes being made, then the people that helped build those communities oftentimes want to stay a part of that stuff and keep putting it out there, because the game is at a level where they actually enjoy it. But I'm not speaking for anybody else, though. That's just an opinion of a guy who's been watching the 2K community for a long time, been in the 2K community, and just wants to play basketball video games. And last but not least, guys, thank you so much for checking out this podcast. Those are my thoughts for today for episode number 2. If you guys have not subscribed yet to YouTube, on there, my name is Heir Samurai. Please subscribe and hit the like button on every video that you see. It will really help me out and help the podcast to grow. And not only help the podcast grow, but also help my channel grow, personal brand, and different things like that. And then also, too, if you ever want to see me stream live on Twitch, I am on Twitch every single night at 8:30 p.m. Pacific time. So if you want to come out to the Twitch stream and you want to see me talk trash, not to anybody, but just like, talking shit to, I guess, my own screen here, and enjoying talking to people in the party that are on my team and stuff like that. Come out, check me out, man. I think you'll have a blast, and we can chop it up and talk about a lot of different things. So that's pretty much it for this video, this podcast. Thank you again for watching, and until next time, my name is Heir Samurai. Happy Saturday.